Hi guys, it's Kate again. Happy June. It's time for another mini TBR, but I wanted to update you a little bit on May 1st. So, I chose 4 books for my May TBR, and I read 2 out of 4, and then I'm partway through a third one, which is a Skyfall song. The one I didn't get to is Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers, I think is the title. I didn't end up getting that one. I was in a pretty major reading slump in May. In fact, I wasn't sure I would even find some favorite books from the month of May. Until very close to the end, I found 2, right in a row. So that was really nice, and I thought I'd share those 2 with you. So the first one was Unbanded by Hope Ann, which was on my TBR for May. And this one I actually buddy read with my friend Virginia. And it's a YA dystopian that releases in a couple weeks. And I backed it on Kickstarter, so I got a copy early. It's a very high quality, wonderful copy, and it came with some really cool merch. So I wanted to read that as before release day, just to kind of support the author. But also, I was just really excited to read it. And I absolutely loved every moment of it. There were characters I loved to hate. There was people in it with mixed motives. There was twists and turns. I really enjoyed the amnesia trope. And then reading it with Virginia was just really nice because we wrote back and forth about our different theories of what was going on. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. I think it's meant to be a duology. It says so on the side. So I'm really excited to see, because partway through this, as I was nearing the end, I'm like, how's the author gonna find any material for a duology? This is wrapping up really well. And then, of course, there was a big twist. And now there's, one of the characters is in danger, and another one's, doing stuff to try to save them. And I'm just like, okay, this is actually going to be really cool. This is a great concept for a sequel. So I'm really excited to read that. I'll have to be patient, but yeah, I'm so happy to add this to my favorite books for May. And then the other one was one that I started in April, read a bit, and then I actually, I had to stop reading because it was so heavy, and I was not in a good mental state that I just knew I couldn't read more of it right then. So I took a big long break, and then I finished it up in a few days near the end of May. And the end made the whole thing worth it. And that is Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. And this story, the concept is it's a group of people who are taken hostage during this apartment viewing. And this bank robber runs to escape the bank and ends up taking these people hostage. And then these police officers are interviewing the hostages after the fact, trying to figure out what happened. So it's got some interviews interspersed, but then it also kind of takes place during the hostage situation, and then there's some time before that, the different ways the characters are connected. I absolutely loved it. I described it in my review as unreasonably hopeful. And what I mean is there's some hope in this that goes against our instincts. And I love books like that, where they imagine more than we're able to imagine. They truly love and empathize with every character. And the characters make the right choice in the end, which you would never expect in real life. So I really, really enjoyed this one. It had me crying for like the last few chapters. And just some really satisfying payoffs. Some really good twists. There was a fake out where I totally thought this one thing was going to happen and the book led you to believe that, and then it didn't happen and you're like, wait a second. The characters are really quirky, which I know has actually turned some readers off, but I really enjoyed them. They were meant to be people at their most extremes. They're most extremely annoying, extremely needy, extremely lovable, and it was just, in some ways it was a parody of how people are, and yet by the end you just feel like you know them so well and you love them so much. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It was just wonderful. The thing that made it really heavy is suicide attempts, and suicide prevention were a big theme in this. And that's something I don't usually read because I'm sensitive in that area. But it landed on a hopeful note, and it was more about saving people than the actual element of suicide itself. So I was able to read it. I just had to take a break when my mental health was pretty bad. But yeah, if you can handle that, if you're in a good headspace for that, I definitely recommend reading this one. So those are my two favorite books in May. And then I have four for my mini TBR in June. And I had two I chose for summer reading, and another two I had besties choose because I wanted to get four again. I don't know if I'll be able to get to all of these. We'll see how bad my reading slump stays. I think I'm coming out of it, but so yeah, the first one chosen by Katya is The Blitz Detective by Mike Hollow. This is one I found at a thrift store, and did I find it at a thrift store? I think I've actually found it at a used bookstore. I didn't know much about it, but it's set during World War II. This is actually like a republishing of the original book, like the title's been changed and everything. But the concept absolutely intrigued me. So there's this detective who he's sent to a crime scene, and he finds out that this guy's been murdered. He recognizes the guy as somebody who's like a high official. And then a bomb falls during the Blitz and completely destroys the evidence. So it's like, okay, he's not going to be able to solve it, but he's committed to solving it. And so he has to like figure out what's going on without evidence. And it just sounds like a really interesting story, an iconic detective. I'm not surprised that Katya chose it. She really likes historical fiction and World War II stuff. So I'm excited to read it. I'll have to report back to her whether or not I like it and if she should read it. This next one, it's on my Kindle, and my Kindle just went to sleep. This next one, Michaela chose, and she's read it before. This is a series we've both read. It's an indie series, and I haven't read the most recent book, which is Firmament Time Stream by J. Grace Pennington. I have been so nervous to read this one. So the concept is that it, so it's kind of like Star Trek style. These characters on board a ship just traveling through the galaxy. And the main character, Andy, has different adventures and like coming of age and meets different characters. Just, they come across different like dilemmas. Anyways, so in this one, they run into some sort of like time warp, and they're revisiting like all the events that have happened throughout the series. And I think she's the only one that's aware of what's going on or something. I'm not sure. But I am so nervous to read it because I'm like, what if it retcons my favorite parts? What if it's boring because it's revisiting everything? I just have a lot of like what ifs. And it's number 11 in this series. And I don't tend to like series when they get this long. But Michaela chose it for me because she wants to know what I think of it. So that gives me a clue that she liked it, or at least had strong feelings about it. And so maybe I'll like it too. So yeah, I'm excited to read this one. It's always good to switch things up and have something on Kindle. I don't read on Kindle a lot. I prefer physical books, but I'm also trying to read through books I own. And this was on that list, so yeah. And then my 2 for summer reading. I try to choose for the 3 main months of summer, although we get more like 6 months of summer where I live. The 3 main months of summer, June, July, August. I like to choose 2 books for each month, just based on a theme, like either summer, and then for July, I like to do Christmas in July, and then for August, I like to do late summer. So it's just a very loose theme, but I like to choose books like that. Today, I just signed up for my library's summer reading, and the goal is to read 1,000 minutes. It used to go through the end of August, I think, but they made it shorter this year, so a little bit more of a challenge. And if you get your 1,000 minutes in before the deadline, you can win a free book. And I was looking at the free book options this year, and they are fabulous. Like, really diverse, lots of titles I'm interested in, some Christian fiction titles and stuff too. It was just like, I'm really proud of them for the diversity that they have of books. Some really cool stuff. I don't know how I'm ever going to choose. But, so, anyways, all that aside, summer reading has begun. I'm so excited. And here's the 2 books I chose for June. So the first one is The Green Kingdom by Cornelia Funk and Tammy Hardung. And this is actually, this is one of the most beautiful books I own. It's got all this gilding. If you look at the back, and then the end papers. Actually, if you take off the cover, it's got this absolutely gorgeous inside. And then it's got these sprayed edges. But most importantly, it's illustrated. It's like a cozy, here's an illustration. It's like a cozy botanical story with kind of like a mystery fantasy element going on. But I just love the botanical element of it. And I know that early summer is when a lot of things are growing and blooming, closer to spring. And so I was really excited to read this at this time. I have almost no knowledge of what it's about, but I do know that Cornelia Funk did the Inkheart books, so I know she's like really creative, and I'm really excited to read this one. I think I'm really hoping I like it. It just looks so cozy and magical, and yeah, so it's so beautiful. Look at this, guys. And then the last one, oh my gosh. So last summer, for summer reading, June, my theme was like summer romances. And I read, what's it called? The Prince and the Apocalypse by Kara McDowell. And just absolutely loved it. It was so cheesy. It was perfect for me. Definitely look up content warnings, but it was mostly really clean in my opinion. Absolutely loved it. It was like an apocalypse story with like fake dating and like a road trip and an apocalypse dog. And there was a major twist at the end. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta read the sequel because it's a duology. And so this June, I'm reading the sequel, which is Heir Apparently. And this one, it's a continuation of the love story. It's got the royalty trope. It's got the, well, I can't tell you all the tropes because it would spoil the first one. But this one, their plane crashes on an island. And so it's kind of that more survival trope. And so I just absolutely love it. The first one was like road trip and apocalypse, which I absolutely love, and Britishness and love. This one is like surviving on an island and Britishness and love. And I just love how creative and cheesy and surprisingly meaningful this series is. So I'm really excited to try Heir Apparently. This is probably one of my most anticipated books this summer. I'm hoping it's as cute as the first one. And they better have a happily ever after. I'm just saying. Otherwise, we riot. So anyways, those are the books I plan to read this June. Thanks so much for watching. See you again soon. Bye.